Back from the holidays, back with a bang with Laura Weiner-Kiser, who is a distinguished mindset coach helping leaders to redefine the inner world, master their mind, master their emotions and nervous systems to allow for better choices. With her tools and perspective, she helps high achievers and leaders reset their autopilot, reclaim their inner power, create lasting change from inside out, so their life and their leadership actually feels as good as they look from the outside. From a better marriage to a better body to a better business, she is able to help with all of the things. Welcome, Laura. Speak to me, sister.
Well, thank you for that awesome intro. You should definitely be a hype man as like a side job.
Hey,
You're
I'll
great
take
at
that.
it. Yeah, no, I'm about it. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for, having me here, and I'm excited to share a little bit about how mindset works and how it really can shift and deliver a lot of the life experiences we want.
Why is it all mindset? Like you said to me, hey, look, 95% of it's a mindset thing. Why? Why is it not strategy? Why is it not, change strategy?
Well, what affects change strategy is one person's mind, right? Like it's all about what makes us human. And this is where I didn't start at mindset. I started at health and I was a personal trainer and then a nutrition specialist and then a health coach, but I kept running into the same issues. And so I'm like a dog with a bone when I have a problem. I want to figure out what the problem is so I can solve it. And what kept manifesting, the more I kept looking at it, was going deeper into the psychological belief system, how the different brains develop, how the hormones influence everything, and how we literally create a personality of being addicted to our way of viewing ourselves. And if you're trying to level up, your body and your brain will perceive it as a threat because it doesn't have a known survival success kind of data point with it. And so that's what creates a lot of self-sabotage. So you see a lot of people in this kind of cyclical space of I want to move beyond it, but they don't know how to recognize when their body is self-sabotaging, when they can trust their thinking, when they can't trust their thinking. And ultimately, like it's a hard thing to explain because everything that we experience is already distorted based on our mindset and our perception of our internal experience.
Amazing. How do you help? What do you do? Is it you find a limiting belief? Do you work with energetics? Like, tell me, like, in terms of how you can help and how you serve.
So I always say I like to be a guide, not a crutch. So I don't want to just help people solve one problem. I want to help them feel a sense of agency to understand how to navigate themselves and how to lead their own lives. That means recognizing aspects of their mindset that they need to challenge or recognizing aspects of their mindset where they can trust it. So I listen very specifically for different indications of beliefs, limits, directions, fear. So simple, right? Someone will say, I have to get this done. Have to is a chore word. So they're already viewing it as a negative task. So I know that there's mental friction associated with that versus I don't have time to get it all done. Who actually told you, did anyone tell you you had to get it all done? And a lot of times they'll be like, well, no, but I would want to. And I'm like, okay, so like that's okay, but you're putting that pressure on yourself. But are you choosing to put that pressure on yourself? So a lot of times we feel victim to the unconscious filters our brain is having, but because they're unconscious, we don't recognize it. And what I do is I help people, I challenge the narratives, I help them understand when and how they can, and I teach them different skills. Some of them are energetic, depending on the personality of the person. You got to kind of work with the nervous system and the brain that the individual has. So some people are more energetic and teach them different energetic ways of navigating that. Other people are much more analytical and I'll teach them different ways of navigating that. It's really about what will create the greatest sense of self-assurance and agency for them as an individual to go into their life and do what they want to do.
Amazing. Great answer. there. Love that. Let's lean into sales because without sales, we don't have a business. And I've connected with many experts that, hey, look, they know, they've got the certificates, they've read all the books and things like this.
Mhm.
What does sales mean to you, and how do you close your deals? How do you close your deals?
So, I don't sell, I serve. And this was something that I stumbled across early in my business. Um, I was kind of going at it this salesy approach, which was taught to me from my school, but it felt really manipulative to me. And the nature of the work I was doing was people were coming to me vulnerably asking for help. And then I was showing up like, sure, let me manipulate you into buying my product so I can help you. That just felt incongruent. Um, and since the true purpose was let help you, I was like, well, why don't I just try helping them versus trying to convince them I need to help them? So
Hmm.
I look at it much more from a holistic standpoint where I'm not looking for everyone. I'm looking for the right people. I don't kind of hunt people down or try to sell. When I hear someone struggling with something, I acknowledge it. I hold space for them. I offer a lot of free sessions just to kind of what you give tends to then give beyond you is how I think of it. And I would rather lose a client, but let them know they were safe to share whatever they wanted to share with me. Cause then if a friend of theirs ever comes to them and they think, oh, I could really benefit from a mindset coach, the person who maybe didn't sign with me would be like, well, actually, I had this great experience with Laura at Change by Challenge. You should reach out to them. So I'm thinking of it in terms of, like, serving my clients in the best ability that we can, honoring the ethics of what it means to be a coach, not just money hungry, but also having the holistic vision of what I want Change the Challenge to stand for and living into those values.
That makes sense. I mean, I think we've maybe got a similar outlook where my take on selling equals service. And so it just reframes what selling means, right? Because selling might spark off a reaction of techniques with some people, might be master classes for another person. So, selling equals service, I think. It's a great way to define sales, but the sale happens either way, right? Like either we sell in our aligned way or we avoid it because we're afraid of it. And so I think if we change the meaning of what selling means to what aligns, then I think it's powerful.
I agree, and I think we all know that icky car dealer salesmanship that people are turned off by. Um, so I really do look at it almost as like dating. And
Yeah.
even the coaches that I employ, I tell them if they're signing every single client, they're not doing it right. Because that means you're not aligning with integrity and the ethics of the company because not every lead is a good lead for us. And speaking of energetics, that's kind of what I've seen is when I align with that, more kind of comes towards us. So it's kind of a fruitful nature-esque view, which is probably super corny in the business world, but that's what I've seen has worked. So staying in that alignment and actually saying no to people because I don't think I'm the best person to help them and redirecting them towards someone who can feels really good to me because it makes me feel like I'm honoring what it means to be me.
Amazing. I mean, let's be honest here, like in terms of many women are undercharging and, over delivering
Oh, yeah.
because of how sales has been perceived, how sales has been delivered, Wolf of Wall Street. And so that's why I think this series, like She Leads, She Sells,
Mhm.
I think is so key because part of leadership has to be selling, you
Yeah.
know?
Now, I'll tell you this very brief story because this was probably the moment that I realized I was gonna serve, not sell. I was at that, like, crux point of I had done the salesy way, felt manipulative, didn't really like it, and then I met a coach who was 5 years ahead of me in terms of her business, and I was telling her kinda my issue, and she goes, "Oh, okay, I see what's happening." And she asked me, "Who do you need to be okay if your business fails?" And I was like, "I don't think you understand. I don't want my business to fail." She goes, "Oh, no, I get it, but you're so afraid of it failing, you're not giving it a chance to live." And that shit hit me. I was like, "Damn, alright, fine." And so I thought about it, and I went through my brain, like, if I went the salesy approach and things worked, how would I feel? And if it failed, how would I feel?
Yeah.
And shame was what was registering. When I thought about following my moral compass and my ethics and my business failing, I was okay. I was kind of at peace with it. So, I mean, talking about sales is complex because what works for one person isn't going to work for the next person.
100%.
Everyone has their own kind of magic in that.
Hmm.
And that's what I think is so valuable about the podcast that you have is you get so many different voices sharing what's worked for them, what hasn't worked for them, so then newbies or veterans can hear whatever they need to hear through whatever transition point they are in their life to say, "Okay, well, maybe I need to just try a different way of approaching it."
Yeah, 100%. I remember when, around about 4 years ago, when I was entering the scene and I tried to copy, hey, copy this strategy, hey, go to that group and this and that. And I decided at that point, hey, let me go inwards. Let me look at, you know, former high school teacher. So that's what helped me to create the whiteboard method. And I just did a whiteboard session with a client just like an hour ago. And I said, look, if it would have been just like this, me and you speaking in a room, it gives one level of insight. But when we create the whiteboard, it's like therapy. Okay,
Mhm.
let's write that down. Let's write down where you want to be 100%. And so it's like 4 years on from first creating the whiteboard method, it's like, okay, I'm still using the whiteboard method. Why? Because I tapped into my unique whatever,
Right.
something, yeah, and things
Yeah.
like that. So, yeah,
And, like, that becomes kinda like your sprinkles on top of the sundae, right? It's what makes you unique, what makes me unique, what makes me the right coach or the wrong coach for someone is less about my education and more about what the person's looking for and how my sprinkles may or may not be exactly what they need. And it's the same thing for you. It's the same thing for everyone. And I think, like, being able to experiment to see what works for you and what doesn't.
mm-hmm.
I don't know anyone who succeeds that they can't do that. But
Okay,
that's where, like, the over delivering comes in because people have restrictions with their money mindset, so they want to over deliver because they don't feel like they're worth X amount, and it's a hurdle almost every coach I know needs to overcome because they're not looking at it, the framing is incorrect. The framing is, "I don't believe I'm worth this much," when
yeah,
really
yeah,
it's not about you at all. It's about them
100%.
and how they will value that.
No, 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 that makes complete sense. I love your energy. I love the fact that you've leaned into your lane, you know what you stand for and everything like this. Tell me about leadership. What does that look like? What does that mean?
Well, that depends on the person, naturally. I can tell you what it means to me, uh,
100%.
but just like we were talking about our sprinkles of sales, that's gonna be the same sprinkle for leadership, where some people who are better leading in a more masculine or a more feminine, some people are better in a one-on-one, some people are better in group, and, like, understanding that in general, but I think the hardest part of leadership is understanding your line. As
Hmm.
in what you're willing to fall for,
Okay.
and, like, it's easy to know what we stand for. We stand for honesty, truth, integrity, loyalty, sure.
Yeah.
But what happens in the gray
Yeah.
when someone's asking you to do something outside your values, when someone's pressuring you to step over your boundaries and threatening you that you might lose your job if you don't? Because people think of leadership as, like, the person at the top or the person above them, but a lot of what I try and do with my clients is teach them how to embrace their inner leader in life so that it's not about, well, this person is telling me what I can and can't do. It's like, well, no one can tell you who you are but you. You're the ones making decisions to go along with it or to not go along with it. And as I'm saying it, I know it sounds super simple, super, like, just don't do the crappy thing. But when true life circumstances are on the line, it's hard. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're upset with your circumstances as a be that in your job, in your marriage, in your community, whatever, you are partially at fault for that because of what you're choosing and what you're not choosing. And that's not said to shame anyone. We all are. It's more about, okay, what do you want to do now that you see it? And how can you lead yourself to embody the person you want to stand at?
Love this. Love this conversation. I think self-leadership, I think it's a great concept. Self-leadership.
Don't you think we all need it?
100%. Yeah.
Because if we're not leading ourselves, who is?
100%. No,
Right?
it's but it's very easy to look externally.
Oh, yeah. Very easy.
Mm.
But easy and impactful aren't always hand in hand.
100%. It's like, I can see why people might work with me, because like when they are in a moment that's where there's a bit of resistance or not sure what path to take, removing strategy, using the ikigai. Have you used the ikigai tool? Yeah. Yeah. So using ikigai to, like, what are you about and how does that align with what the world needs? Because we're not doing starving artist like syndrome here. Like, okay, yeah, we've got our gifts, but how can we best connect those to the world, to what the world needs and stuff?
Yeah, and how do we know and learn our own limits in that? Like, we talk about overgiving. There That's lovely until there's a cost.
Yeah.
And finding that balance, like, how do you know when your no is your no and your yes is your yes? Even beyond the pursuit of passion or something that's worth, you know, staking your name on and building legacy with. Like, how do you show up for you? How do you take care of you? And how do you build something so strong and unshakable inside yourself that no matter what happens outside, no matter what easy solution is presented to you, you still feel confident that you will navigate adversity with alignment because you know who you are on the inside.
Know who you are on the inside. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how many people say they want to be brave, but then when they have moments of courage, they don't capture them? Like, if you want to, it's very interesting. I think it was Charles Horton Cooley who said this. I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am, which is exactly how people go through their life. We're trying to control what other people think of us. When the easiest way to actually control what people think of us is to understand how we want to be thought of and then practice those habits and skills and personality traits. But instead, we let our fear and our ego kind of take control and project this perception outside of ourselves versus taking control inside.
Amazing. Who are you looking for? What type of person are you looking to serve? How can they get in contact with you?
Um, I serve people who are ready for change is the simplest way of saying it. But most people who see me are high achievers and leaders who are ready for the next level, but continue to get stuck or they can't navigate it on their own. They keep falling into the same stress cycle or they're overloaded or overwhelmed. And you can find me at Change by Challenge, pretty much anything. Social media, my email is Laura at changebychallenge.com. If you go to my website, you'll see it there. Um, and my podcast is The Challenges of Change. So slight twist on the language, but yeah, if you're ready to face some of the challenges that hold you from changing the way you want to experience your life, that's what I'm here for.
Amazing. Laura, appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for doing what you do and helping all coaches and young entrepreneurs learn how to do this. And I really think these conversations are helpful. So thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And God bless you, Laura. God bless the United States of America. Keep on innovating and making things happen. Challenged by. God bless you. That's it, Laura in the building. Speak to me soon.